idea of writing as a process versus writing for a product. Now, there's a lot of emphasis on writing as a process. However, the FSA only scores the writing product. So our idea today is we streamline this process to create a product that the FSA wants to see. So like it says up here, as a community of learners, we will compare the methodologies of writing as a process and writing for a product in preparation for the FSA writes, so that we can effectively prepare our students for the rigorous state assessment. Now, we know we have it when we write an exit slip describing how we will streamline the process of writing for the specific students that we have in order to create a product that's capable of scoring a 10 out of 10. In semantics, we do not accept anything less than a 10. So, the FSA is our measuring standard for the reading students in Florida. So, this has a writing component which counts for a large percentage of this overall final score. So, now, here's the thing. Before we get into how we do this, let's talk about some of the problems our kids have. So, when our kids approach this writing assessment, what are some problems that they come back to you with?
So they often come back with time constraints. They're concerned about the time. They don't feel like they've had enough time to thoroughly analyze the text that they're pulling evidence from. They also feel like they need more time to dissect the prompt to understand whether they're meeting a multi-prompt. Sometimes they say they feel this kind of pressure where they're concerned about, am I hitting all my transitions? Am I hitting all my points? So that this overarching sense of, I've got to be able to get all this done within this time frame.
Okay, so we're actually going to fix that today. So what I always tell mine is, you know how it is, you get 3 sources, and then they give you the prompt, and then they give you the blank sheet, which for a lot of them, I don't care what level, that blank sheet, it scares them, especially when they have that clock ticking. Okay, and they can see the clock. So what I tell mine is I say, skip the sources, go straight to the prompt. So, this is our sample prompt, and this is actually the Module 1 prompt for semantics. Now, what I tell mine is, first thing we can determine is this expository argument. So, I'm looking for those clues. So what happens when your privacy is someone else's business? You've been hired to write a column for the New York Times that identifies problems related to other use of your digital footprint. So this essentially is what we're answering right here. This is what our task is. And I always have them mark it off. On the computer, they have a highlight function. I tell them to use it for this. Support your position with evidence from the text. We know they have to do that. Be sure to examine competing views. This right here tells them it's an argument. So they already know this. They have the most important stuff they need to know. Okay? Give examples from the past or current events or issues to illustrate or clarify your position, which will come in your sources. So, we know what we're looking for, we know what to answer. Before we look at our text, we write a claim statement. My kids formulate a claim. So, an invasion of your privacy through your digital footprint may result in problems such as blank and blank. Because it's argumentative, I know they need to have 2 body paragraphs that have reasons for and one that's going to be an against. Here's one of the things we do that's different. We don't leave these necessarily blank very long. My kids come up with a list. I say, before you even go to your sources, come up with a list, 5 or 6 things that would fit into these blanks. Because when you go back to your sources, you're looking for evidence that will support these things. Because now you have the information to help analyze that text. You can focus your reading on certain problems. So let's just say, for time's sake, that they said identity theft and unwanted advertisements. And they found support for that in the text. So, continuing from there, we go into our structure that we've taught all year long. That's the key with writing process, is we've taught this structure since August. So when I'm going through it with them again right before the test, it's nothing new. They know how to go evidence, commentary, evidence, commentary. I make mine require 3, not everybody does. It's up to each person with the level of the students that they have. They write their claims before we've gone back to the sources, because they know what it's going to be about. Identity theft may result from someone's use of your digital footprint, because that was our first point. They also write their concluding statements. They will actually put this typed into their blank sheet. All this is typed into their blank sheet. So basically their planning, instead of being on a separate sheet of paper, is typed in on that blank sheet. They do their claim, do their concluding statement, because they know in their concluding statement they have to talk about this, and they have to introduce what's coming next. So identity theft and unwanted advertisements. This allows them to transition into their body paragraph 2. Unwanted advertisements may also result from someone's digital footprint. They would do the same thing, going through evidence and commentary. Concluding statement, even though unwanted advertisements and identity theft, those are my 2 reasons again. So I'm literally copying over the same exact things, just different wording. Not everyone agrees that internet providers should restrict access to digital footprints. Queuing in that counterclaims paragraph, which comes next. They already know what their claim is. Some people argue the internet providers should allow access to digital footprints. They go back and find their evidence commentary all the way through. Concluding statement, they have to come back and explain why they're right and bring their readers back to their side. They know it's part of their argument. We have all this done before we've gone back to do any of our reading. When they go back to do their reading, all they do is copy over their evidence, cite specific commentary specific to each piece of evidence. So essentially their draft and their outline is already typed in there. All they have to do now is at the end, for their revision process, is make it into an essay instead of an outline. So they take out claim, evidence, commentary, these actual words, and make it flow. That's all they have to do at that point. And then we go into our conclusion. They've been trained in this format since August. And my kids love this. So this is the type of format that they use for every single essay. Alright, so now what I want you to do is, so you've seen this format, I'm going to let you write your exit slip and explain how you could use this for the group that you have in your classroom.